Good morning, afternoon, and even some of our viewers, it is Monday. So that's exciting to know. But we are here today on Talented Universe, and I'm going to introduce our guests first, and then I'm going to have Marcia introduce our guests after we've introduced everybody of the co-hosts individually. Greg, how are you doing this great morning?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you, Michael?
I'm doing pretty good. And you're glad your power is back, correct?
I am. It wasn't for very long, but it was in the middle of the night. So, of course, first the sudden silence without the fan, and then the beeping of everything coming back on.
That really does it. Okay, Liz, how are you doing?
I'm doing phenomenal. I'm so excited for this particular show because of our guests. So I've been looking forward to this one.
I have too.
Thank you very
Marcia.
much.
Indeed, yes, I'm doing great. It's Sunday, just afternoon here in Florida, and I too am more than excited to bring back the amazing Ivana Vasic, who is the costume designer for not only the Ark and the Librarians, the next chapter, but dance and so many other things. Welcome back, Ivana.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me, and thank you for this grand introduction.
Well
humble
deserved. Well deserved.
Yep.
Go ahead, Marcia, and you can start
Well,
the interrogation.
Ready?
Just before we went on, you were talking about your background that you have there. It's kind of the library.
Well, about librarians, I talk in front of a library. Isn't that just to be in a genre?
Mhm. Now we have seen here in the States, at least, we have seen up to and through episode 8 of the Librarians, the next chapter, and I almost don't know where to start here.
Well, you're
So,
8 episodes ahead of us here, so
oh my god! So when does it start there? Or
I
do
don't
you?
really know. I'm not aware of the release date for Europe, and especially not for Serbia. So we're waiting.
So it'll probably be fun for you to be able to talk about all that stuff with people who have actually been able to view the episodes. So,
Well, they are going to then remember. All of a sudden they're going to go, "Oh, that's what she was talking about."
well, I want to start. I have to start with the most. Do you want to start with the first episode or?
As you wish. You can
Okay.
do them. You can
just jumble, Marcia, just whatever.
Well, I'm going to start with the 8th episode then, and if you haven't watched it, too bad. So it is.
I've seen them all. Don't worry. I did my
Well,
homework.
the 8th episode, which was the Hangover from Hell,
Right.
was another challenging episode for us as fans to kind of play with, because it started with another explosion kind of, and we see our heroes tumbling downstairs and so forth, and we find them in this castle, and they're all dressed differently, and we get to see the story from different points of view. How much fun was that to do all those points of view and do costuming?
Insane. So there is a level of insanity to the librarians per se, and then there's an additional level of madness and insanity in that particular episode, because not only that we change from episode to episode between genres and styles and eras and periods, but within that very episode we also swapped and did the Rashomon thing of like seeing everything from a different perspective. So it was an immense fun. I mean, it was a moment when we could see the lead characters in completely different styles to what they're usually wearing. And of course, everything came from the same stem inside of their characters, but it was much more flamboyant than usually. And it was absolute delicatessen to do that.
Well, the noir vignette,
Oh,
which
yes.
was filmed in black and white, how different is it to costume for black and white?
Well, no, not very different, because in black and white movies they were also using colored
Mm-hmm.
garments, which then would not be in color
Mm-hmm.
once it was recorded in black and white technique. So we were paying attention to, to the valer and the shading of things, so that we get a little bit of different shades of gray. And voila, that was it. And we didn't know at the beginning that it was going to be black and white. That's another thing. It was, we sort of decided, the artistic departments and camera and directors and dean decided that along the way at some point that it would be really nice to do a noir in a noir technique.
Mm-hmm. And the 007 vignette.
Yes, that was fun. That's Connor's little, spotlight. Yes, and the glamour and the sexiness of it all was a novelty to deal with around librarians.
And
Uh,
I
And
must
also all the
I
action
must
in it as
admit,
well.
I got the noir and the 007, and I kind of missed, although I watch Hallmark rom-coms all the time, that Jean posted that the third little vignette was a Hallmark kind of rom-com.
Well, yes, that was the pink one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
yeah.
That one was funny. That one was really funny. We were like, oh, so how do we put really Charlie in pink? Like, seriously? But then we tried it and it actually worked. And then we went on like, okay, let's overdo it. Let's just overdo then. If Charlie went pink, let's make Connor and Vikram go like beyond, beyond ice cream. So
Mm-hmm.
it's all like little, marshmallows all over the place.
That was fun. I know we have a
Yeah.
lot of questions, so I'm gonna throw it back to Michael.
Yeah, Greg, you're up next.
Oh wow. Okay. So wow, you've had a lot of fun shows in your repertoire. I saw that you
Yes,
also did Outpost,
I did.
and so that had a medieval look. Librarians is all over the place, and the Ark is all futuristic. Um, so
Yes, and past couple of weeks we've been still shooting Librarians, and then preparing the last episode, which is like in like far past, I can't say. But then at the same time we started shooting the Ark, which is in the 23rd or 24th century. So I got a little bit schizophrenic, but it was a very glamorous schizophrenia, I must tell you.
so leading to that, have you in something like The Outpost, where a lot of the scenes are filmed very dark, have you run into any challenges where you have to rethink a costume once you see the set, or have to work with the art director or lighting director to make sure that the costume stands out for what it's intended for?
Yes, we always have to do that. I mean, costume populates the sets and is absolutely dependent on the environment and on the lights and on the conditions and the camera. So I have to, first of all, I have to make everything look good in the environment, whether it's an armchair with a particular pattern that somebody's going to be sitting on, or it's a night shoot with heroes who should be dark or light. But with the Outpost in particular, it went fairly smoothly, I must say. We never had any real challenges, because somehow it all like clicked like magic from the very beginning. And the visibility, at some points I was only thinking about like whether my dresses are going to be matching the furniture, but outside and lights and camera, we actually somehow were in harmony. without even having to really think through that a lot, or realizing that something was wrong. Whereas on the Librarians, I had a conversation with DP at some point that there was a few situations in one of the episodes where Charlie was wearing black, standing against a black wall. And I was like, oh my God, oh no, I didn't know about the black wall. Like, could you see her face at least? Yeah, so things like that do happen on a show that has such a fast pace, like Librarians. You can't really be aware of absolutely every angle and every set and every part of the set. So unfortunately, sometimes things like that happen, but we all communicate a lot. And have no difficulties in saying to each other, the DP to me, or myself to Art, or Art to me. We just tend to override that kind of issue.
Awesome.
Liz?
One question I wanted to ask real quick is going kind of back to the beginning when you first knew that you were going to be designing for the Librarians. What influenced you to create some of these different designs, especially like the design on the back of Vikram when we first see him at the back of that costume? It's so gorgeously entailed. What brings in these inspirations for these designs?
Oh, well, it's oh God, where does the inspiration come from? That's the big question, isn't it? It comes from all over the place. It comes from books and from images that we see and that I've seen in my life, paintings that I saw. That embroidery in particular did not come from one specific place. It came from very many places. It was once I read the script and realized there was going to be Victorian gentleman leading the show, the group. I really wanted him to have something very, very particular about himself, which is not only the dandy outfit that was self-understood. He was going to have that, but he had to have some sort of, not magic, but like emblem, some sort of signature on himself. So I decided that was going to be a big embroidery on his back, because that's sort of like cross eons kind of thing. It's a little bit of a tattoo, it's a little bit of runes, it's a little bit of magical meaning and content on top of clothes, which is the second skin, etc., etc. So I took elements of the library, in particular some ornaments that the art designers gave me. I rearranged them and then found some other little elements and put them back all together to fit the triangle of the back, to be flattering for the figure, and to look like baby dragons trapped in a cage.
It's just a gorgeous design.
Thank you.
You had mentioned before you were unaware that some of your backdrops were going to be like really dark. When you guys did, I believe it was the Dance of Doom, where Jessica has to dance with the ballet dancers. Did you know that whole curtain was going to be black?
That, yes, I didn't know that, because I was heavily involved with that episode, having been ballerina myself and also as a child, and having worked on numerous theatrical shows at the National Theatre. And I was actually also involved with the choice of the actual ballet piece that was going to be staged for the episode. So I did know that, and that's why I gave her the white blouse, a shirt that was going to become her sort of like ballet costume, so that she fits in, but also to let her stay within her character, so that she doesn't all of a sudden wear something else, and that in the end it all looks like part of a same show, so that the audience would not notice had she been in olive green cargo pants. It would have looked a little bit strange, but in really tight leggings, leather black leggings and white shirt, she does somehow feel like parts of the aesthetically like parts of the performance, but also gets visibility and is able to move. I mean, there are so many things, so many elements that the costume has to allow and enable, that I thought this was going to be the best way to do so.
Okay. I know we have a couple questions in the chat room, and Michael, I'm sure you have your own questions.
Yeah, I'm going to do one or two in the chat room. Linda says, I have a question for you. What is the medallion that Connor is always wearing? It looks so familiar, and I've seen it somewhere before, but I can't place where.
Well, it is something. I'm sorry, somebody is calling. It is something that we found. I can't really reveal because it's going to stay a mystery.
Okay, that's fine.
Yes.
We understand that, and I hope they understand that.
I'm just going to give you a hint. Connor, being an anthropologist, he does go around, search for things, and comes across things and finds things. So it is the one thing that he kept from one of his adventures.
Okay.
Okay.
And then I'll throw this is another thing about Connor that Linda wants to know. I guess she wants to really know about Connor. How did you come up with the idea for Connor's flowered shorts?
Well, because he does have a lot of pattern, and in that episode we allowed ourselves to go very funny, haha. So Connor was the one who would most unlikely wear something like that, and because it was like a dreamlike storytelling, and it was not his choice but the storytellers. He was fine with that. So, and we wanted to go very pastel and macaroon and joyful because it's a bachelorette. So, and he agreed.
Well, that makes sense. My question for you, working basically simultaneously on the Arc and the Librarians, did you find yourself having inspiration between the two shows and like throwing something that you did from the Librarians into the Arc and vice versa, or you didn't have too much of a crossover with this first season of Librarians?
No, there wasn't.
Yeah.
God, now I'm going to speak in German. There has not been any crossover with the first season. And we finished Arc just before we started shooting.
You did? Oh, I thought you'd had an overlap then too. But
we have the overlap this year.
This year, okay.
The second season of Librarians and the third season of the Arc.
So basically, the only influence the Arc had on Librarians in the first season was the con.
Exactly.
Which was marvelous. I mean, most of us have been involved with conventions in some way, and I was looking at that and I go, "Oh, that is so dead on right."
Oh yeah.
And it was just like people that haven't been to a convention wouldn't understand it, but I mean, everything that went on in that, the costumes, the dialogue, everything was just spot on in my opinion.
Yeah, we were going crazy. We were sitting around the table and going like, okay, so who comes there? I was like, okay, besides tourists, and just people, normal people. So let's go like easy. People with T-shirts with some messages and some ideas and some, whatever definitions of things. But then let's move on further. There must be some, some religious organizations, members of some, conspiracy organizations. And then let's move on further. And they went like, oh, we need a Yeti. Actually, we need 15 Yetis. And I was like, we don't have that here. We can have one, and it takes time to be made. So let's think of something else, something achievable.
Would you say who said they wanted 15? Was that Dean?
It's not Dean. It's like a group of people, like writers' room.
Oh, okay. So it was kind of a whole group of people.
Once the writers' room writes, they feel and think as if everything was happening in America, which is a really big country, and can provide things like 15 Yetis. But then we were making everything here, and I was like, this is a very small country. We don't have 15 Yetis. Maybe we have one. Maybe we don't have any, but we can make one. So then we went on to monks, and then there are some people from the outpost. I don't know if you noticed the black.
I thought so.
Yes.
I saw that.
There, yes. And then I was like, well, why not put some astronauts? It's like landing on the moon conspiracy. Real, not real, happens, not happens. So Dina was like, yeah, you're allowed. Let's just bring them on.
Were you?
Well,
I'm sorry to
no, go ahead,
interject
Greg.
off
Yeah.
turn here. Were you able to add have? Were you involved in like the merchandising that was there? We noticed like there was like some hats that mentioned like the ducks aren't real and stuff like that.
No, that was art. That
Okay.
was the brilliant art department. Yes, they were coming up. Them and the writer were coming up with, and Dean were coming up with whatever is going to be written on things, and then we were choosing colors together, and
That's fun.
and putting everything everywhere. Yeah.
Mhm.
Did you have a favorite episode making for the costuming between 1 and 8? Or
Ooh,
do you
that's
want
a
to wait on this question till next time after 12 has been?
well, we can, I can do like, top 3 and then top 2 and
Okay, well, whatever you want. Yeah, whatever you want. Just some of your top 3s for the season in the first 8. So just
well, I really loved designing the Ottomans, who were actually Janissaries, who were actually, a tribe from Mongolia for the first episode, because I had to rip all the cultures and all the history bits and pieces to make myself believe in what I'm doing, and therefore the audience that is for real. But then the ballet episode was particularly close to my heart because I used to be a ballerina, so I'm like very, achy about ballerinas. I love designing Cupid. I mean,
yes.
he was,
Yes.
he's my first Cupid, so he was
Your
he's
first. Oh
he's
my.
important. Yes. But I think the House of Cards and the Hangover from Hell, but Hangover from Hell was not so much about design. The House of Cards was all about design, and it was all about theatre, really. And the actors were majorly local actors whom I know, and some of them I worked with. Most of them I worked with, and a lot of them are actually my friends in real life. So I think that one was the most emotional and the most somehow exhilarating for me.
Yes, and one of those actors you've got to design their costume and everything for killing them off in the first episode, or whatever that they're in.
Well, yes, it happens.
It does happen.
It
Yeah.
happens a lot, and this episode about tarot, for instance, Madame Visconti has 22 Spanish buckles on her dress to correlate the 22 major arcana cards. And then the little devil, the princess, she is dressed in Byzantine blue. And her tiara is to resemble the lost Byzantine tiara. And then on her little collar, there are many pearls, but there are 18 big pearls, which is 6 plus 6 plus 6. Mm-hmm. So it's like, 9 on this side, 9 on that side. And it's all about those little elements of knowledge and semiotics that are interwoven in almost every of those costumes.
You must, this is my last thing, just a statement. You must spend a lot of time doing research before you even start your design process.
I do. I was into studying anthropology, actually. So the entire spec of like anthropology, sociology, ethnology, psychology. It's all of my passion. So I've been reading about that, since almost ever. But on each and every of these episodes or any projects that I've ever encountered, I like to do a really thorough research and to know my whereabouts within the realm of the narrative and the realm of the aesthetics and the realm also of the very show that, what it should say, who it communicates, and what the moral of it is.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Marcia?
In the con, the very beginning, when they burst through the door and they're all in different costumes, we've been talking about trying to figure out, were they supposed to be specific or were they kind of just
No.
general?
No, they in the previous adventure they somehow lost their clothes and they
Right.
had to find something really quickly. And for some reason, the only shop that was open was a carnival shop. So that's how they landed with those costumes. And I was like, no, that's going to look horrible. Dana was like, no, it's funny. Let's do it. So yeah, fair enough, we did it, and we all had immense fun.
So one of the we're back
I
to
didn't
Connor
make.
again.
I did not make those. We bought those for real in at a carnival shop. Yes.
So they were
wow.
legit carnival stuff.
They are party stuff. Not really. We don't really have carnivals here, so it's party stuff.
Party stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Fancy dress parties.
Yes.
So have you ever been to a fan convention, or have you been to a convention yourself?
No, I went to like a comic book convention. Does that count?
Yeah, that counts.
That counts.
and music record convention.
And have you worn a costume? Have you costumed yourself for you know, there's so many people who cosplay, and have you done that?
No. I mean, I suppose I costume myself every time I go out of my home.
And
depending on
yeah.
the personality that takes over that day.
And I'm looking at your left hand and what you have on your wrist there. That's so interesting.
Thank you. Yes, that's a local brand called HoReCa, and I really like to. My department gave this to me as a present, so I almost always wear it.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
It kind of reminds me of a Stargate device that they used, a healing device.
I can open doors to the world with it.
When someone's in full makeup, not the Yeti, but say from the Outpost, when they're in full makeup and you have to design for them. How do you work with the makeup and the costuming together, or how does that work?
Well, I mean, together in the sense that it all needs to match to somehow, look like it came from the same place. But we do it separately. We do costume fittings and dressing, and then they do hair and makeup, or the other way around. Usually costume first, and then hair and makeup to complement it. But yes, on the Outpost, it was all about period medieval fantasy. So I had like very specific and very like detailed instructions, and also the creators of the Outpost were very specific about how they like their hair and makeup. I had a little bit more fun with costumes.
So are the costumes for the Outpost still hanging around?
Well, yes, the heroes and all the hero clothes are with me at my studio. I'm preserving them, and all the gods, the aliens, and all the overly fantasy things, and the medieval stuff we just reused for. I can't say.
We used for I can't say.
Something.
Why did you ask me this? We reused it last season for an episode that you're going to see soon.
Awesome.
I can say, yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay,
Now.
next.
Greg?
Okay, so oh geez, I was so enthralled with everything everybody else was asking. I lost my train of thought. How about skipping me for a moment?
Okay, Liz.
I'll go back to my list.
Excuse me. Actually, I have a question. When you design stuff for the Ghost Train, I noticed it was extremely light. Everything was very light. Did you and the arts department work hand in hand with the designs for all that? Because everything just seemed very light instead of a darker episode.
That was actually done in the post. I mean, I did originally design them light because they're ghosts. So I didn't want to make them dark. So, except for the two guys who are bodyguards of the Carvod. But then in the post, they were, there's a little bit of CGI there, obviously. So they were brightened up. So they become, the opacity goes down and they become semi-transparent. So Yvikren can do the thing,
Yeah.
But yes, I wanted them to be somewhat sombre, and because I originated everything from the totalitarian societies in Eastern Europe in the 70s. That was our like resource, the source of everything. But then to make it a little bit brighter. So it's not realism. It doesn't seem too glam, but also that it does not go into something terribly candy.
Okay. And then you partially answered this question already, but I'm going to hopefully expand on it a bit more. When you did House of Cards and you did the Con, both of those had an immense amount of extra working parts, extra actors, background actors that you had to costume for, versus just something that's more enclosed, like The Hangover. Um, was it more difficult? Did it drive you more crazy doing costuming for so many people? And which one, because you do a lot of your research and everything, like you just said with the House of Cards, um, which of the two was probably the one that gave you the most difficult and the most time consuming between the Con and
Well, the Hangover from Hell is honestly the only episode which is only with actors, with the heroes. Heroes. Every other episode has an immense amount, not only of the background actors, but also background extras. So those episodes are difficult because we're doing them in such a short period of time. And because they need to be, there has to be some demographics, there have to be people and they have to be dressed within the entire style of everything. So Con was difficult because there were so many of them and they all had to be specific. It's not people in t-shirts and shorts.
Right.
And you can't, I have extras just come over dressed as they are and believe that they're going to be good enough for the camera. So there is an immense amount of energy and time that's consumed by actually costuming those people. So that one was really, really hard because of the amount of people. And then the tarot one was not so heavily populated. I mean, there are not as many people as in some of the other episodes in the background. But it was periods, and it was each and every one of them had to be a character, like a nun, an actor, the glamorous singer, the this, the that. So it all had to be perfect. It's not just a background, it's an actor, so it all had to fall into place, and it's period, so you can't really rent it and believe that it's going to be good size and good look. So we actually made most of that within like a week or so.
Wow.
We worked in 3 shifts.
Oh
But I
my
had
goodness.
little fairies and leprechauns helping me, so we're good.
Greg, if you wanted to do your
Yeah,
question
no,
now, you could go for it.
definitely. So, noting that there's something like that where you worked around the clock for 3 shifts, do you like the breaks where it's primarily sourcing and fitting versus completely coming up with something period or original?
That's very difficult to answer, really. I love both.
Okay.
I love the drive of it. Sometimes I really like shopping, but my true passion is designing. I really like to conceive the characters from scratch, to draw them, to invent them, to make them, and then to see my little Barbie dolls come to reality, be born. So that's my absolute favorite, regardless of how hard and how little time and how much of it there is. It's so rewarding to actually see it all come true. They're like literally being born. And they also then go into patina, into breakdown. I don't just take them, in front of the camera, just
Right.
freshly out of the oven. They have to be then broken a little bit. So I love shopping. I do, I promise. But I think to answer your questions clearly, I believe that designing and having everybody made from scratch is my favorite thing.
Well,
Then they're
definitely.
mine, really. They're not,
Yeah. It definitely pays off.
Yeah.
Everything's looked gorgeous, and I've always been one of the people that the technical and the artistic aspects, especially of fantasy and science fiction, really sell the show even more so than the performances. So kudos to you for all of that.
Thank you so much. That's very flattering.
Liz, did you have any more or
Not too
right
many
now?
at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Let me go to Marcia quick because I gotta
Okay.
double check these questions.
I have been really admiring your dance costumes that you have shown us, and particularly there was a piece, Moonfall, that that was mesmerizing to see the joining of the dance and your costuming. Can you? I'd love to hear more about that piece and how you costumed that piece.
Well, it's actually the standard white ballet costume for the ensemble, and the National Theatre has that show staged already. So we wanted to use, parts of the choreography and to use the fact that they have some of their own, but then we manufactured them a huge amount of, additional ones to match the original show, because we wanted to play with what is familiar to the audiences as the white ballet and that particular act, and with all the fantasy magical stuff that happens then within it. But there is, the process of manufacturing ballet costumes is quite mesmerizing itself, and having the gorgeous French actress Ariel Dombas just trying the pointe shoes and then trying the dress on, and being just there was absolutely mesmerizing.
And I saw that you were there was some costuming with students with parachute material and military material.
That was for the opening of the Fashion Week, Spring Fashion Week this year here in Belgrade. So, and I participated last year as well. And this year, the opening of the Fashion Week is usually a collective show of about 50-ish various designers, stylists, and obviously costume designers from the region. And this year, it was all about the protests and the freedom, the liberty, the past, the future, the life and death, and etc., all the big important things. So I took the parachutes, and one parachute and a number of, I think there were about 15 pilot jumpsuits, which are all used and damaged. So we recycled them with students from the design academy who graduated fashion design with a friend of mine who's their professor. They are doing the practicum at my company. So they helped me make the one Victorian dress and one crinoline dress out of not only the parachutes and the jumpsuits, but also the actual rucksack that the parachute was originally packed in. So we used everything. And then one of them was even wearing it because she's really tall and good looking.
It was quite striking and lovely to see. I love that when you show your sketches, you so we can see sort of the development of your ideas and how sometimes you work through them to create a final piece.
Yeah, well, that's the fun. I'm heavily influenced by comic books and graphic novels. So my style is very comic book, graphic novel-y. And therefore, it's almost, they're very often like, one-on-one. They often look exactly like I drew them, but sometimes they do change. When I realize that the fabrics, behave differently, I find different colors, or I have some, enlightenment during the process, because you can't really foresee it all.
Lovely.
I'll just ask this: if you wanted to change anything that you'd already done for season 1? Was there something after you saw it you say, I should have done this instead? Or is everything kind of worked kind of the way that you thought, and the production went ahead the way you thought, they didn't make changes? That's kind of what I'm asking. Did they make a change on you that you kind of go, if I'd have known that, I'd have done this instead?
Well, more or less everything is, I tend to not allow anything go in front of the camera until I'm happy with it. The only thing I do regret is that because of this fast pace, I don't really have enough time with the lead actors. And that's bothersome because they need time and also attention. And I would love to hang out, at the shoot and to just like have a little bit more.
And
of
you
that.
just don't have that. You just don't have that.
No, I'm constantly in prep, because it's we shoot about like a week's time, working days, one episode, and during which time we are physically preparing the next episode and then conceiving the third one. So I have 3 brains at the same time, juggling around, So I don't really get time. I go on set every time there is a beginning of a new episode, to just make sure that everybody's happy.
Everything is fine. Yeah.
Everything is fine. And then I just get into the vortex of manufacturing and making and designing and acquiring and, everything that needs to be done for the next one to be on time in place. Because, Librarians is not only a mystery, there is a lot of action. There are doubles all over the place. There are, the triples, there are the repeats, there are this. So there is the conceived stuff, the artistic stuff, there is the style, but there is also the entire logistics and also the technical elements around it that are not so fun, but they have to be done. Otherwise, the shoot would go bleh.
Yeah. Did you enjoy, let's go back to Ghost Train. Did you enjoy doing the costuming for the people on the train? Because you were saying about the colors and everything else, but did you enjoy doing that? Or was it like,
I
golly,
loved
what
it.
am I going to do? You loved it.
I know, I loved it. I loved it. As soon as I read the episode, I was like, okay, so that's going to be Tito, and that's going to be our childhood. I mean, the Yugoslavia of the 70s and 80s. So it's we've seen it all. It's like it was my past right there. A little bit of glamour and then a little bit of socialism.
Yeah. Do you enjoy that they set the Librarians in Serbia, Yugoslavia, because of the history that they are bringing the history in?
It is so flattering. I mean, it is so wonderful that for the first time, Belgrade is being written about in an American television show.
Mhm.
And they stand in for Paris or Berlin or Vienna or Budapest or whichever other place. So this is the first time that it's actually happening in Belgrade, and it's in such an affirmative way. And I think that's such a gorgeous thing to do. I mean, Dean was I don't know. I think we should give him some medal or something.
Well, I mean, this is not your area, but we were all talking when we first saw. Well, I went to the Electricon convention, so I got a sneak peek at the first episode, the first act, and it was like I was looking in the settings and everything. I said, we've never seen anything like this before.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just so nice seeing something different.
Yeah,
it is, yes, and there is just like we did in the Outpost, we put all this Slavic, ancient Slavic heritage and a lot of Balkan folklore. So you can kind of recognize that it's all something European, but you can't really put your finger on it. The same with Belgrade and Librarians. I mean, it is Europe. It is the civilized world as we know it, not very far from what the Western people know and recognize.
Yeah.
It's so much different, and also then combined with all the mythology and ancient beliefs and, slightly different culture than Central Europe, for instance, or Western Europe much more. I think it's a really good mixture. I think it's fresh.
It is, yeah.
And interesting and, captivating as well, because it's, I mean, Drekavac and, the ice fairy and all those phenomena we know about. Our grandmothers tell us stories about that.
Yeah, that was a lot of that stuff was new to me. I mean, I go, oh, this is cool. Yeah, and I said it's got to be the heritage, and I mean, it's great. I mean, I've tried to explain to people because they go, people that have seen the other library, oh, it's the same. I said it's not the same. I said the annex is in Serbia, and they use Serbian backgrounds, and the cast is mostly from around there. And I said it is very different. And I mean, and the people that have looked at it have really liked it. I mean, but they just thought it was, oh, it's just a remake. I said, it ain't a remake. It is totally different. So, and
yes,
the costuming just fit in just great. I mean,
thank you. We're very happy. We're all really very happy. And also it treats topics that are so important, the friendship, the togetherness, the self-esteem, the trust, the honor, the moral, the ethics. It's like all the topics that somehow slip out of the focus of modern entertainment for the youth, being PG-13 program. I think it's really it's moving, and it's also very noble to actually treat those topics in such a way, and also in a place that's so out of the main roads in contemporary world.
And my last question, what did you feel when the CW canceled the show for the first season of Librarians? Were you devastated and like, I did all this work, you mean you're not going to be able to see it? Before you found out what really happened later.
No, I was certain it was going to go somewhere else. I mean, it was obvious. We made it. So
it was finished. I mean, I was so shocked. I was 2 weeks before it was supposed to air. I was so excited. And then I got the news and I go, oh, golly. And then they announced that TNT was going to do it. And I went, yay.
It would be quite impossible that, such a monster produce is not going to go somewhere. I mean, you can't just make something like that of that size and just like waste it and disappear it. No, I was not frustrated at all.
Well, that's good. But then what did you think when TNT picked it up and then you found out they greenlit a season 2 and they weren't even going to show season 1 for a while? What did you feel? Were you happy? Did you go, oh no, I've got to work again for a while?
Oh my God, what am I going to do? Like all those designs, all that beauty and glamour. No, I was really happy because it's a crazy ride. This show is a ride. So I get to go to all these places in my mind and in my designs, and TNT is a very chic network, so it's nice to be there. It's really nice to be part of that. It makes you feel good about yourself, but also that having done the entire work and now hearing how good a response it has and how people are reacting to it and all the praise that it has risen. It makes me feel happy and proud and wanting to put the bars even higher.
And see, I have another one. And you have wrapped up season 2.
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh, so you still not completely. So it's close though. But I knew it was close.
3 days. Yeah.
Are you happy with season 2? Is it
more
exciting?
God.
Is it more exciting? And I know you can't say anything, and we don't want you to do it. But is it for you? Was it more exciting doing season 2 costuming than season 1? It was.
Oh yes.
Okay. That's all I'm going to say. Anybody else have anything else? Or
most definitely.
Season 1. Sorry. Yes.
Putting it out. Go ahead. Just putting it out there into the space. Hopefully, you will have to be overwhelmed and be costuming for season 3 very soon.
Well, thank you very much. From your mouth to God's ears.
I did want to mention that we had Calum on our show recently, and he was raving about his costuming that he was able to wear and how it enhanced his portrayal of Vikram.
Yes. all his shoes and boots and spats are handmade by a company here in Belgrade that has a little workshop within the home, establishment that they live and work at. And it's a family business, and they also have a shop, and it's like a gentleman's brand. So I keep going back to them and going like, oh, we want this for him, or we want that for them, and can you like do more holes? Can you do more this? Can you do it taller? Can you do it like, softer, better, this, that? So we keep doing those, and then we make the coats, the leather coats for him again, over and over again. And they go, so what color should it be now? Should it be like, which metal or which stone are we going to choose for his other, because everything has to have a meaning, it's like whether it's emerald or it's something on a very deep like Bordeaux, a deep red wine, or it's Parisian blue. Everything has to have a meaning and to be part of some like higher scheme.
That deep blue jacket I absolutely adore.
I saw it being
and the
sold on
purple.
the internet.
And so we'll have to keep our eyes out on the development of his costume colors and so forth. So okay,
Yes,
and
please.
if I were you, I'd keep my eye on him, because something might disappear from the set when.
Oh, I always love when they take something with them. It makes me happy. We have doubles of everything.
I want to come over and get some custom boots made.
Oh, you can't. They can. Sorry.
Aw.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for doing this for us. This was amazing.
Happily.
Yeah, and just so our audience know, you said you're going to come at the end of the season sometime when you have free time from the arc.
Yes.
And talk about the rest of the episodes and anything else that you're allowed to talk about.
4 big episodes coming, so
Yeah.
I would be happy to talk to you again. Yes.
Yeah, that will be good. And so people in the chat room, I just want to warn you, some people that we've been having troubles with Facebook. Some comments did not come through, or some people have not been able to get on Facebook. So we're sorry about that. We hope you find us on YouTube, because YouTube seems to be the most stable. So we're happy about that. And on behalf of everyone from NDB Media and Talented Universe, thank you for coming. We're excited that you've agreed to come back again. And next Friday, we have the person I was discussing about that you've killed off twice with their costumes.
I know.
Dominic Chichak is going to be with us, and he's going to be talking about his little stint on Librarians in the House of Cards. Yeah, Chauncey Cooper. Yeah.
My love to Dominic. He's gorgeous.
He is so nice. He's one of our favorites. He's one
All
of our
right.
favorites. So. But anyway, everyone, thank you for coming, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for inviting me. Ciao.